Hi and welcome to Section 1, Knowing Your Data. This section will introduce us to importing data from CSV, Excel files, fixed width and tab delimited files, as well as JSON resource. We will then learn importing data using database. Then we'll move on to cleaning data, importing image data into NumPy arrays, generating controlled random datasets, and finally smoothing noise in real-world data. We have used Anaconda version 4.2 and Enthought Canopy 1.7 for this course. These leading platforms cover most of the required packages, so we don't need to import them separately. Now we start this section with video 2, importing data from CSV. In this video we're going to take a look at what functions we need to use to import data from CSV successfully. We'll work with the most common file format that you'll encounter in the wild world of data, CSV. It stands for comma separated values, which almost explains all the formatting there is. There is also a header part of the file, but those files are also comma separated. Python has a module called CSV that supports reading and writing CSV files in various dialects. Dialects are important because there is no standard CSV and different applications implement CSV in slightly different ways. A file's dialect is almost always recognizable by the first look into the file. What we need for this video is the CSV file itself. We'll use sample CSV data from ch02-data.csv. These would be the basic steps we need to perform import data from CSV. The code sec-02csvread.py demonstrates how to import data from a CSV file. First, we import the CSV module in order to enable access to the required methods. Then we open the file with data using with compound statement and bind it to the object f. The context manager with statement releases us of care about the closing resource after we have finished manipulating those resources. It's a very handy way of working with resource-like files because it makes sure that the resource is freed, for example the file is closed, after the block of code is executed over it. Then we use the CSV reader method that returns the reader object, which allows us to iterate over all rows of the read file. Every row is just a list of values and is printed inside the loop. Reading the first row is somewhat different as it is the header of the file and describes the data in each column. This is not mandatory for CSV files and some files don't have headers, but they are a really nice way of providing minimal metadata about datasets. Sometimes, though, you will find separate text or even CSV files that are just used as metadata, describing the format and additional data about the data. The only way to check what the first line looks like is to open the file and visually inspect it, for example, see the first few lines of the file. This can be done efficiently on Linux using bash commands like head as shown here. During iteration of data, we save the first row in header while we add every other row to the data list. We can also check if the .csv file has a header or not using the method csv.has_header. Should any errors occur during reading, csv.reader will generate an error that we can catch and then print the helpful message to the user in order to help the detection of errors. Okay, let's run this code using Python sec-02csvread.py. This is the output. And you can see the day and amount. Nice. If you want to read about the background and reasoning for the CSV module, the pep-defined document is available at. If you have larger files that you want to load, it's often better to use well-known libraries like NumPy load text that cope better with large CSV files. The basic usage is simple as shown here. Note that we need to define a delimiter to instruct NumPy to separate our data as appropriate. The function numpy.loadText is somewhat faster than the similar function numpy.getFromText, but the latter can cope better with missing data. And you're able to provide functions to express what is to be done during the processing of certain columns of loaded data files. Great! So that marks the end of the video. In this video we've learned how to import data from CSV. Cool, isn't it? In the next video we'll take a look at importing data from Microsoft Excel files.